are a single tranquilizer and they have better sound sleep than you have. That is because our acceptance of pluralism, that is because our acceptance of the age-old time-tested religion that we have. And then our democracy has withstood the test of time. And to be very precise, then humanism, compassion, kindness, consideration, nowhere else in the world you get it. And then our society, as somebody mentioned it earlier, is governed every inch of it by moral laws and ethical laws. There are aberrations will be there, but that is not the rule. Rule is that we are governed by the ethical and moral laws. And least regimentation. If you go to Singapore even, not to go far as America, you go to Singapore and you will find that the pupil, the individual is controlled by police. And here, police is less powerful than the individual. Individual is not regimented. Individual is regimented to the extent he is controlled by his own conscience, not by the police station. And this is why our culture has been sustainable. And then, last but not least, I would like to say, dignity of women. This is the country where women are considered as divine incarnations of mother, incarnations of divine mother. Well, there are aberrations. Today in the newspaper you must have seen that people have carried out a candlelight procession in Delhi yesterday in memory of Nirbhaya and so on. But that is not the rule. We have a very vast country. We have a populous, very populous country. We have the best and the biggest democracy in the world. And there one or two aberrations is no aberration. And by and large, that people remember Nirbhaya even after 1 year. This speaks amply of the fact that we respect our women, which other countries do not. And that is perhaps the reason why our country, our democracy is so vibrant. As Swamiji says, if you have a bird, both the wings of the bird must be equally powerful. If you have a society, society cannot thrive and take off unless men and women are given equal dignity, equal rightful place. And that is what is being done in our country. And more than that, as I have already told you, that women here are not a biophysical entity. We consider them as a spiritual entity as much as we consider the Divine Mother. With these few words, I want to take leave of you. I prepared a paper which I will hand over to our brothers here, and if they like they can print it out. But anyway, I'm extremely grateful to my brother Swami Suparnanandaji Maharaj for having given this excellent opportunity to hear MSTU this beautiful evening. And I am extremely grateful for the deliberation that I have already heard. And I am also very grateful to Professor K.G. Subramanian, whose deliberation, brilliant deliberation, we await eagerly. And also Saroj Ghosh, a very renowned person, internationally famous person. So I owe my gratitude to all of them for being here this evening. And then my greatest gratitude is due to you all sitting in the audience, because you have put up with me for such a long time. Thank you very much.
Professor K.G. Subramanian, who was born in the year 1924 in Kerala after studies in Presidency College of Madras, was trained as an artist in Kalabhavan Vishwa Bharati from the year 1944 to 1948. After affiliation to the Slade School of Arts in London, and the Rockefeller Foundation as a fellow in New York and teaching at the MS University of Baroda, he returned to his alma mater, Vishwa Bharati, in 1980. After retirement in 1989, he continued to be as Professor Emeritus, a leading preceptor in Shantiniketan. His eminence as a painter brought to him awards like the Padma Shri in 1975, Kalidas Samman in 1981, Padma Bhushan in 2006, and Padma Vibhushan in 2012. I request respected Professor K.G. Subramanian to give his inaugural lecture.
Friends, with so many distinguished people around, the kind of introduction I have been given makes me blush. In fact, I feel quite uneasy to stand before you and talk on the cultural unity of India after the highly learned and informed presentations of the last 1 hour. I am an artist, not a scholar. So what I shall say here should be considered a layman's reaction to the amazing paradox that our country's cultural scene is, balancing a chaotic diversity on one side with an inner core of continuity on the other. One reason for this may be that our country is in size a subcontinent, supports a population that is the second largest in the world, has nearly 20 languages and more than 20 times that of oral dialects. Maybe this is one of the most linked with an ancient civilization and democratic diversity, but whose cultures too undergo periodical changes. They also have to balance what is with what was. And this necessitates a redefinition of the nature of culture. Generally speaking, what we call culture is on one side the life pattern and its wherewithal of a group of human beings that results from their encounter with an environment, and on the other, the notions they derive from this encounter regarding their origin, antecedents, growth, evolution, and destiny, and various observations and institutions they engender. Those came into being in the slow-moving pre-industrial societies and gained through the ages much diversity and depth of reference. But with the onset of industrialization and the cross-country commerce and the increase in social mobility and interaction, culture gets progressively influenced by market forces. For instance, the food habits of a region are altered by the influx of exotic eating ways. The celebrations and public events undergo changes in character and spirit on the basis of their exposure to public media like television and design packets offered by the new tribe of event managers. On another side, cultural identities become bastions of power during elections. Candidates seek the backing of social groups formed on the basis of religion, ethnic, or trade associations. Even in the area of material culture, market forces play havoc with certain specialities, like, for instance, our traditional household effects like kitchen utensils, furniture, costumes, all have found place in museums all over the world for their aesthetic and functional excellence. But today, they are being rapidly replaced by ill-designed alternatives promoted by fashion trade. This is not all. Even our life habits are changing and bringing noticeable differences in our personal conduct and behavior. So, on one side, group or cultural identities are assuming a kind of political role. On another side, cultural forms that have through constant use and refinement attained a separate aesthetic value in different parts of our country are being vulgarized or eliminated by new tendencies in commodity trade. And this discussion on cultural unity of India have to keep in mind this changing scenario. It can no longer be confined to what was or what is. It has also to be concerned with what should be. Geographically, our country is, in a sense, the underbelly of the Eurasian continent. For this reason, whatever its original nature and demographic details might have been, it was fed by various influences from the eastern and western quarters of this continent, both in terms of ethnology and culture. This gave its human scene great variety, namely its life patterns, beliefs and practices, languages and law, character and sophistication of the communication and cultural expression. So much so that some people came to say that our India has many Indias. Our colonial rulers from whom we gained our independence, namely nearly 70 years ago, who wanted to rule us from a distance and to help this wanted to see us divided, explained this variety as disunity. And to counteract this, we saw a need to lay special emphasis on its unity and try to dress it up under the cloak of one of its prominent cultural factors. While doing this, we sometimes overrode some of its features which withstood such treatment. Some call this cloak or dressing up Hindutva, largely basing it on the ideas, institutions and practices of post-Vedic Brahmanical culture current among the upper classes after the 6th century BC and spread its aura around its periphery. Earlier rulers of the different regions of the country had made an effort to educate popular life on the basis of Buddhist and Jain thought. But after the 6th century, their influence dwindled and survived only in small pockets. And subsequent Hindu culture accommodated various ideas they and some other deviant sects gave currency to. For instance, ahimsa or non-violence came to have a prominent place in Hindu ethics. Some Hindus gave Gautama Buddha a place in their pantheon as an avatar of Vishnu. This capacity of the new Hindu culture to accommodate various dissimilar practices drawn from groups high and low gave it a larger resilience and spread. But in the middle of the 15th century, Islam and Christianity entered the scene. True, certain Christian sects had made their entry much earlier and on a smaller scale. But at this time, Islam had the support of Muslim rulers and Christianity came with the promise of transcontinental trade. This entry brought to light other cultural strands like Sufis, the Parsis and later the Sikhs. There are various strands came to rise to various practices and patterns of life and thought. and encouraged new categories of creativity. Many of these interlinked and or overlapped, and their literary and visual expression gave them new meanings and implications without any controversy. But they had their features where they stood distinct, different codes of conduct and habits of living, though all religions have very nearly the same intentions, namely civilizing the relationship between man and his environment, man and his fellow men, and man and his inner being. Whatever that may be, different religious denominations gained a big role in determining the cultural identity, and religious chants and prayers became an effective method to attract popular attention. No wonder then that Mahatma Gandhi used communal prayers to marshal popular support for his campaign to liberate our country from foreign rule and educate our people to preserve probity in private life and public conduct. To reach out to all denominations of people, he chose excerpts from Hindu, Buddhist, Islamic, Christian, Parsi and Sikh prayer books, and to emphasize that his main purpose was to ensure the well-being of people and their concern for each other, used a song that the Gujarati poet Narsi Bhagat wrote with the starting lines, "A true Vaishnav is that man who suffers in himself another man's pain." All religions were to him valid pathways to make a human being human and ensure his enlightenment. When we read the life story of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and his attempts to follow diverse practices of self-discovery devised by various religions, we see that he too wanted to demonstrate an inherent similarity in the center